Hey, so I recently had the opportunity to attend a Suzuki Demo Day at Iron Pony in Westerville, Ohio. So as many of you know, probably, I ride a black 2014 GSX-R750, and this is actually my first chance to ride something different. So today I got to throw a leg over the 2025 Suzuki SV650, the bike known for its pretty chill V-twin engine. So anyway, my goal today is I want to give you my first impressions of the SV650 that Suzuki made, and particularly how it feels coming from a sport bike. The one thing that I want to speak of right off the bat is the riding position. The SV650 obviously is very much more upright and relaxed than a sport bike, and it is definitely like the epitome of naked street bike riding position. You've got your feet directly underneath your knees. My hands were straight out from my elbows, and needless to say, that's just very different from what I'm used to. The upright stance was a noticeable change for me. It's very different from having to lean forward as I do on the sport bike. I found myself kind of instinctively trying to lean forward over the handlebars during my ride here on the SV650, and it was actually very uncomfortable until I just kind of made myself relax a little bit. Overall, though, the bike is actually very comfortable once you get used to it. The seat is comfortable. It's just a very chill riding position for cruising around town. But yeah, you got to get used to that handlebar position if you don't typically ride naked street bikes. The seat height on this one, 30.9 inches. It's definitely an approachable motorcycle for you. You can flat-foot it fairly easily. You know, I'm a pretty tall man at 6'7", but I think just about the average person could still flat-foot this bike. Weighs around 437 pounds, and yeah, that's pretty manageable. Mirrors, I want to point out, my sport bike mirrors are useless. They don't go out far enough around my shoulders. So riding the SV650 with functioning mirrors was so luxurious for me. So if you ever have trouble adjusting mirrors for your own viewpoint, I guess you could say, these offered a whole lot of adjustability in that regard. Now, the display on this bike is as basic as you could possibly get. It gives you the essential information at a glance. You get your speedometer and tachometer. I think there's a gear indicator. There was a fuel gauge, but it looks like a TI-83 calculator that your parents used to use in math class. And it was kind of hard to read it in direct sunlight, which, as you can tell, this video was recorded in direct sunlight. So let's talk power delivery. The SV650 has a 645cc V-twin. I incorrectly thought this bike was actually similar to a GSX-R600, and no, it's definitely not. I'm a dum-dum. And so it actually only produces about 75 horses, 8,500 RPM. The torque is pretty meh, 47.2 foot-pounds. And so my bike, by comparison, has 148 horses, 64 foot-pounds of torque. Now, my initial reaction when riding this bike around town was that it was slow. It is definitely a stark contrast coming from my GSX-R750. The acceleration on the SV kind of felt mediocre, especially in the higher gears. There were a few times I even struggled to keep up with the group, particularly when trying to roll onto the throttle at higher speeds. From a stop, there was noticeably less get up and go compared to what I'm used to. The V-twin is known for usable torque, but it's still considerably less than what I'm used to, and it just wasn't there, and it was just kind of underwhelming. Another thing I'd like to mention is the vibrations. Once this bike gets up into the higher RPMs, it buzzes like an angry hornet's nest. The suspension felt fine. I looked it up, and it's got the conventional forks, a preload adjustable rear. It's competent for street riding. Nothing crazy there. Braking, so the Suzuki says it comes with dual 4-piston calipers in the front, 290mm discs, single piston caliper in the rear. ABS is actually standard now on 2025s, which I don't know if it was standard before or not, but it doesn't matter. Braking was fine. Yeah, I didn't really need to get on them very hard or suddenly during my ride. Bites seemed fine. I had confidence in being able to stop. No issues there. The sound of this bike, though, I know this is important to a lot of people, and this may turn you off. This bike, it sounds odd. One of the other guys at the demo day told me he thought it sounded like a frog, and I cannot get that out of my head. It sounds like a guttural, buzzy frog, and it kind of just sounds cheap sometimes. It's definitely a V-twin, but I don't think it sounds very good. Overall look, though, if you're familiar with the look of the SV650, it hasn't changed very much over the 2 decades or so. I like the look. I think the dark green on this particular model was really cool, and I'm always a big fan of that classic front headlight that Suzuki puts on these bikes. It definitely pulls off that modern retro look that I assume they're going for. Speaking of retro, they were running this demo day primarily to advertise their new GSX-8T and GSX-8TT, which were both conspicuously absent from the demo day. But there again, you can tell that Suzuki is trying to blend that like modern performance with classic styles. That's actually really appealing to some people, so if that's your jam, then the SV650 would also scratch that itch. So just to give you guys a recap here on my first impressions video of the 2025 SV650 from the folks over at Suzuki, I'm going to say it's a very comfortable motorcycle. The ergonomics are just right for riding around town, or if you're a noob, or if you just want to chill. This bike is that. Handling, very nimble, very agile. This thing can handle anything really that you throw at it. It's very approachable for new riders. I think the look is fantastic. It's stylish. It's got that modern retro thing going. And of course, the mirrors work. Holy crap, right? Mirrors on a motorcycle that actually work. The cons. The acceleration and the power are not there for me. This bike, I ride sport bikes, and this one is just boring. The engine vibrates a lot at the higher RPM, and I think the sound of the bike is just meh at best. So who should buy this bike? I think it's a great motorcycle for someone who's new, or for someone who maybe wants to graduate into a mid-range CC motorcycle. This bike is a great entry point for a little bit of extra power. It's a great all-around motorcycle. It's more about utility and being able to ride it all over. But coming from the GSX-R750, this bike is just completely different, but it's still an enjoyable experience. I was very happy to be able to ride something a little bit different and get a different perspective. Kind of reminded me that there's just so much more out there than just going fast and leaning over. The SV's charm, I think, lies in its simplicity. It's very approachable, and it just looks sweet. So, have you ever ridden an SV650 before? What are your thoughts on this engine that I think is kind of weak and sounds like a bullfrog? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed my video, please hit the like button for me, and then consider subscribing to the channel here for more content. I have another first impressions video coming out for you guys next week, so stay tuned, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Later.